So what's up, guys? Part of the reason I post different things, different subjects, and read the whole reasoning behind Doc B's Daily is that I've learned multiple life lessons from reading, studying, talking with different people. Sometimes I've learned my life lessons just from going through stuff myself, and then making the mistakes already. So I'm learning from my own mistakes. I'm learning from other people's mistakes. So let me tell you something briefly. So I'm in a situation where another medical professional did something very unprofessional to me in a public arena. So at one of my places of employment, some of you who know me personally actually know this story. So don't comment. I'm not going to say what place of employment this happened. And the reason I'm talking about this, 'cause I have a specific point. So nothing really major has happened to this person who did this much major thing. Let's just say I was greatly disrespected. And without going into detail, it is very blatant. Like, it's not even a question about whether what happened was disrespectful. It's very blatant. Like, what if I told one of you guys, you know, you was eating at a restaurant, and I told one of you guys to kiss my ass, you know, for no reason. We just had a discussion about whether Obama is a good president or a bad president. And during the discussion, it's something as little as that, but then I say kiss my ass loud as I can. It will be no question that that was actually disrespectful and I did it in front of your kids. So that's how blatant this act of disrespect is. Is that blatant that is no question. It's not like a gray area. Is it disrespectful or not disrespectful? Did this person raise their voice, not raise their voice? No, it's very obvious. There's a level of raising your voice where it's pretty obvious whether you raise your voice. And there's certain where it's pretty obvious, black or white, or white, that this person is disrespected. So basically, I had a discussion with a person of influence, an administrator, and they pretty much told me, the answer about why the consequences have been the consequences that have been the results. I'm not satisfied with what happened to this person. So we talked about things. And what we need to realize is this. And I accepted it. But first of all, fight for your rights. Let me jump right to the lesson, because I'm not happy with what went on, and I'm going to continue to fight and continue to ask questions and continue to check in. But first of all, I want you all to realize in life, fight for your rights. And I'm not telling you to always break the rules, and I cannot tell you. It's specific. There's some times in life where you're going to have to do something called civil disobedience. That means you're going to have to break the rules. You're going to have to break the rules, whether that's, whether you have to do a march, or whether you have to do a sit out or a boycott, or whether you have to send letters to very important people. But you have to do something that actually catches someone's attention. Sending emails, that can actually catch someone's attention too. Sending emails to important people or going 2 levels above a person. You have to do something that catches people's attention when you see things aren't right in life. So first of all, the lesson number one I want you to realize is don't accept anything. Don't accept any bullshit from people. Don't accept people putting you down or disrespecting you, and do something to catch people's attention. Now, I'm not telling you to do anything violent or break the law, be illegal. I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you, and it's going to take a lot of wisdom. And this is a sit down conversation I will have to have with someone and with their specific situation, their specific background, and the specific person, because I can't give you rules to say every situation is appropriate to do a boycott. There isn't. Every situation is appropriate to do civil disobedience or do a march. For instance, it's okay to do civil disobedience or do a march, but if that march involves, a situation where ambulances can't bring sick people to certain hospitals, that's endangering people's lives. Now, is that a good thing or bad thing? It's a bad thing that endangers people's lives. So that's why I say one answer isn't always the right answer. Violence, I believe, is rarely the answer. I would never say it's never the answer in certain situations. I tell people when it comes to violence, and I got this from someone, but this is more of a one-on-one situation where you're protecting your life. Violence is rarely the answer. When it is, it's the only answer. And I'll leave it there. That's a separate Doc B's Daily. If y'all are interested, I'll talk about that situation where violence is rarely the answer, but when it is the answer, it's the only answer. And that's a whole different discussion that revolves around self-defense. Okay, self-defense. But that's not a decision. We're talking about someone did something wrong to you at a place of employment or even in your own family or in a social situation. So rule number one is just stand up for yourself. Do something, say something to grab that person's attention. Someone needs to know the gravity of the situation. And after you've done everything possible, you have to decide, when you decide you've gone far enough, because at some point you're going to have to end it, or at some point you're going to have to pass the struggle on to another group of people or generation of people, when they, especially the situation that involves, African Americans in this country. And that's a whole nother discussion, historical. And I don't want to jump on that because it's too long a discussion. I may piss some of you off, but you may have to decide, you know what, I got to stop this struggle here. I already did everything I need to do. Once you decide to stop doing what you need to do to get the person's attention, or you decide, okay, you already given this thing enough energy, or have you gotten the result that you wanted. But once you decide that it's time for you to stop, and that's another discussion, you have to be okay to accept it. Like, for instance, I'm almost at the point where, you know what, I accept the fact that different groups of people are treated differently, and I just have to accept that and focus on the fact that I only have control over my own destiny. I only have control over my own actions, over my own thoughts. So if someone's been an asshole to me, okay, I have to accept the fact, you know what, that's a learning experience. I'm never going to repeat that behavior in my own life. I'm never going to be like that person. To me, that's a learning lesson. I'm not going to be an asshole. I only can control me. And also understanding this world, unfortunately, to a certain extent, things are unfair. So only thing you could do is fight the unfairity now. Unfair, I don't know if that's a word. Fight the unfairness now, and just hope that maybe things will be much more fair for the people after you or the following generation. That's what happened with the civil rights movement. A lot of those people who marched on Washington and did those protests, it didn't help them. It didn't help them. A lot of these people were grown. A lot of these people were grown men and women who lived their lives, or who certain opportunities aren't going to be for them. But when they marched on Washington, when people protest, when people wrote letters, they did it with this in mind, to help future generation of black people, so I can feel comfortable going to school and become a physician, so I can go to some of these schools that were off limits to black people. So they did it for the following generations. So you got to realize that when you do a fight such as what I'm doing it for people who come after me. I may not benefit from this. I'll be totally honest. I may not benefit from this. But you know what? I am going to continue to fight. And when I stop fighting, just accept the fact that things are unfair for me now, but just have hope. What I've done now is going to help people after me. You got to keep that in mind. Life isn't always about helping yourself. Sometimes you got to help people around you or below you, or people who are coming up. So I'm hoping everything that I'm putting in place now, even though it sucks for me, I'm not going to get any satisfaction from this thing. Hopefully people after me, this will help people after me, so this behavior is not repeated with this person to other people afterwards, or people who are like this person to other people afterwards. So, because it's not always going to be about me. That's part of the reason I do these videos, helping it helps people afterwards. So don't accept any shit in life. You are a child of God, a child of Allah, a child of whoever you want to say you worship. You deserve respect simply because you're a human being. I believe animals deserve respect. No one should call you out of your name. No one should treat you like shit. Of course, we're always going to be in a situation where we have disagreements and arguments and things, but no one should sit up there and disrespect you. I'm one of the few emergency medicine physicians that I know who will actively tell patients, please don't disrespect our nurses. We didn't disrespect you. And if you can't follow those rules of disrespect, fuck customer service. Go to another hospital. I've named other hospitals patients can go to. I'm sorry. You can't allow people to disrespect you in the name of either I don't want to be disliked or I want their business. If you have that level of disrespect, and don't get me wrong, there's sometimes you may disrespect me because there's a level of misunderstanding or discomfort you're going through, and I'll work with you. I will work with you. But when I assess the situation, dissect everything, and I see, wow, this person just being an asshole just for the sake of being an asshole, this person doesn't have maturity, then in my opinion, I don't want you in my life as a friend. I don't want your business as a customer. Go somewhere else. We don't have to accept injustice. I don't want you as a colleague. So don't accept disrespect. All right? And I'm very big on that. There are other people who say, oh, we want that. No, go somewhere else. I'll write down a name of places you can go. So I got balls, please. I don't play. I really don't play when it comes to disrespect. Everyone knows once that patient disrespect, they know if Dr. Perry is on, you're safe. You're safe. I guarantee it. I don't play. All right? Doc Beats Daily. Peace.